Welcome to Golden Reflections Wisdom, a place where we slow down to reflect, to feel, and to see beyond the surface of daily life. Today we begin with a simple question. Who holds the world together when everyone else falls apart? The answer, more often than not, is the strong ones. They are the quiet anchors in our lives. The ones who offer you a ride when your car breaks down. The ones who text you back with comfort while they themselves are falling apart. They are the rocks in the storm, the shoulders everyone leans on. The ones who don't crumble, at least not where anyone can see. They're the friends who always listen. The parents who always provide. The co-workers who always pick up the slack. They're always there. Reliable. Calm. Collected. But here's what we often forget. The strong ones hurt too. They just don't always show it. We live in a culture that pays attention to visible emotion. We notice the loud cries, the public breakdowns, the dramatic pleas for help. And these cries deserve care, of course. But strength? Real strength? It's quieter. It hides behind steady hands and polite smiles. It goes unnoticed, uncelebrated, and often unsupported. There's a hidden cost to being the strong one. A quiet pressure to always stay composed. To never fall apart. To never say, "I'm not okay." And many of the strongest people you know are carrying invisible weights that would crush others. Yet they wake up. They show up. They give. They endure. Until they can't. So why don't we notice when the strong are struggling? Maybe it's because they've trained the world to believe they're unshakable. Or maybe we're too consumed by our own chaos to ask the simplest question. Are you okay? This silence is dangerous. It's isolating. It's the reason why some of the most put-together people surprise the world with sudden breakdowns, quiet disappearances, or hidden pain. Because strength doesn't mean immunity from suffering. It simply means learning to carry it in silence. This video is not about pity. It's about awareness. It's about seeing the unseen. It's about recognizing the battles no one talks about. It's about honoring the weight that so many carry behind closed doors, the kind of pain that doesn't scream but whispers endlessly. So today we open the door to that quiet room inside the human heart, the one where the strong sit in silence. We pull up a chair. We sit beside them. And we say, today we walk into the silent battlefield of the strong. Let me tell you a story. It's not a dramatic one. No explosions, no headlines, no applause. But it's the kind of story that quietly lives in thousands of homes and in millions of hearts. This is the story of a man named James. James was 45 years old. He had tired eyes, calloused hands, and a voice that always stayed calm no matter the storm. People in his neighborhood called him the dependable one. He didn't talk much about his past, but if you listened closely, you could feel it in the way he held silence, like someone who had learned to live with echoes. 7 years ago, James lost the love of his life, Lena, to cancer. It wasn't sudden. It was the slow kind of loss, the kind that steals a person inch by inch. He watched her hair fall, watched her body weaken, and held her hand through every treatment, every hopeful scan, and every moment of fear that followed. She passed away on a Wednesday morning. The sun was shining that day. James still remembers the way the light hit the corner of the hospital window, how cruel it felt that the world could be so bright when his whole life was dimming. He became a single father overnight. Ella was just 9. She didn't understand death, not really. But she understood absence. She understood that her mother's voice no longer echoed down the hallway. She noticed that the kitchen smelled different. She started sleeping with the lights on. James didn't have time to grieve. There were bills. There was homework. There were questions like, will Mommy still be here for my birthday? And there was only one answer. James. So he became both protector and provider. He drove delivery trucks from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. and restocked shelves at the local grocery from 5 p.m. to midnight. In between, he made pancakes. He braided Ella's hair, badly, but she smiled anyway. He memorized her favorite bedtime stories, even when he could barely keep his eyes open. He never missed a parent-teacher meeting. Never forgot a birthday. Never let her see him cry. He became a master of invisible wounds. When grief came knocking, he didn't open the door. He just turned up the volume on the TV. When the house felt too quiet, he vacuumed. Sometimes 3 times in one day. People admired him. James is so strong. Such a great dad. A real man. But none of them saw the nights. There was a Tuesday afternoon 2 years later. Ella, now 11, had forgotten her lunch at home. She came back early, quietly entering through the side gate. That's when she saw him. James was in the car, parked in the driveway, windows up. The engine was off. He wasn't on the phone. He wasn't asleep. He was crying. Not sobbing. Not dramatic. Just silent tears. His shoulders shook gently. His head was resting on the steering wheel. And his hands, those strong, steady hands, were clenched so tightly around the wheel you'd think he was holding the world together. Ella froze. She'd never seen her father like this. To her, he was indestructible. He was breakfast and bedtime, safety and shelter. And here he was, breaking. He saw her through the windshield. He straightened up quickly, wiped his eyes with the sleeve of his work shirt, rolled down the window and smiled. Rough day at work, kiddo. She didn't say anything. She opened the passenger door and sat beside him. She didn't ask questions. She didn't need to. They just sat there. No radio. No noise. Just the two of them, and the truth finally allowed to breathe. That was the day Ella stopped seeing her father as a superhero. That was the day she started seeing him as human. And in some strange, beautiful way, her love for him grew even deeper. Because now she understood the real meaning of strength. Not the loud, invincible kind. Not the performative masculinity sold in movies. But the kind that wakes up, again and again, even when the soul feels too tired. The kind that hides pain so a child can sleep peacefully. The kind that carries grief while telling bedtime stories with a smile. James never went to therapy. He never took time off. But something changed that day. Ella started checking in on him. Sometimes with a question. Sometimes just with a hug. And James started to allow it. Not often. Not easily. But a crack had formed in the wall, and through it, healing began. The story of James is not extraordinary. It's not meant to make you cry or gasp. It's meant to make you remember. Maybe you know a James. Maybe you are a James. Maybe you're the one holding it together for everyone else. And maybe, just maybe, you need someone to sit in the car beside you and say nothing at all. Because the truth is, strength often looks like silence. But silence does not mean the pain isn't real. We often wonder, why do the strong stay quiet? Why do the people who seem to have it all together rarely open up about their pain? Why do they smile when they're hurting? Help others when they can barely help themselves? Why do they suffer in silence? The truth is, it's not because they don't feel deeply. It's because at some point in their lives they were taught, directly or silently, that they had to. It starts early. Many strong people were once children who didn't have the luxury of being children. Maybe they grew up in a home where emotions were not safe. Maybe when they cried, someone said, "Stop being dramatic." Or worse, "Be strong for your siblings." Or maybe no one said anything at all. They just learned through absence that no one was coming to rescue them. So they adapted. They pushed their feelings down. They took care of others. They stopped asking for help because help never came. And over time, that survival skill became an identity. They became the strong one. And the world rewarded them for it. When they held it together through heartbreak, they were told, "You're so mature." When they didn't cry at the funeral, people said, "You're the rock of the family." When they picked up extra shifts, checked in on friends, and never complained, everyone admired their strength. But no one asked what it was costing them. They became strong because they had to, not because they wanted to. But the world forgot that. Now they don't know how to stop. As adults, they carry the same script. I don't want to be a burden. Everyone else has it worse. I'm used to being the one people rely on. If I fall apart, who's going to catch me? And so they don't fall apart. They don't say, "I'm not okay." They laugh instead. They say, "I'm tired," instead of "I'm drowning." Because vulnerability feels foreign, unfamiliar, even dangerous. And silence feels safer. But silence comes at a cost. You see, when someone always plays the strong one, they rarely receive support. People assume they're fine. They rarely get checked on because they're the ones who do the checking. Even when they do hint at pain, people respond with, "But you're strong, you'll get through this." Which, while well-meaning, can feel like a door slamming shut. Over time, the strong become islands. Surrounded by people they help, but emotionally alone. So they perform strength. They keep going. They listen to others. They give advice. They make coffee for friends who cry while hiding their own tears. Because they're used to it. Because it's who they've always been. Because they think asking for help makes them weak. But that's a lie. Strength and silence are not the same. Real strength is not pretending. It's having the courage to say, "I need a break." It's being able to cry without shame. It's allowing someone else to hold space for you, for once. And yet, for the strong, that's the hardest part. They're often surrounded by people who love them, but no one really knows them. Because they've made it look so easy, for so long. Sometimes they don't even know how to open up. They've hidden pain for so many years, they don't have the language for it anymore. They've trained themselves not to cry, not to need, not to ask. So when someone finally says, "You can let go now," it feels terrifying. Who are they if they're not the strong one? Letting go means letting down. And for them that's unthinkable. But inside there's a quiet ache, a desire to be held, a longing to be seen, a hope that someone, just one person, might look at them and say, "You don't always have to be strong," because they're tired. Not from weakness, but from carrying the weight of everyone else's world, while silently ignoring their own. So why do the strong stay quiet? Because silence became survival. Because vulnerability feels risky. Because the world expects them to be fine. Because they've forgotten how to ask for help. But most of all, because they still believe that being strong means being silent. And it doesn't. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who smile through silent pain, cry behind closed doors, and fight battles nobody knows about. Silence may look peaceful, but for the strong it's not peace. It's pressure. The longer they stay silent, the heavier the silence becomes. At first it feels like control. They tell themselves, "I've got this." They push through pain, bottle up grief, and show up for others no matter what. They perform strength, and they do it well. But silence is not a vacuum. It fills up with anxiety, with exhaustion, with the feeling of being unseen. And one day they realize, no one really knows them anymore. Not even themselves. The emotional cost. The weight of unspoken emotions doesn't disappear. It sinks deeper, into the body, the heart, and the mind. They start to feel numb, detached from joy, disconnected from others. Even when surrounded by people, they feel alone. Because how do you connect when no one knows your truth? Smiling becomes exhausting. Small talk feels hollow. Being fine becomes a mask that barely holds together. And when you've been strong for so long, admitting you're not okay feels like failure. But it's not failure. It's fatigue. Deep soul-level fatigue. The physical toll. Emotional silence doesn't just stay in the mind. It finds its way into the body. Chronic stress, tension in the shoulders, migraines, insomnia. The body whispers first. Then it starts to scream. Many strong people quietly suffer from high blood pressure, fatigue that never goes away, digestive problems, panic attacks in the middle of the night, back and neck pain from years of tension. They tell themselves it's just aging, just stress, just life. But really, it's pain that never got a voice. The relational gap. Silence creates distance even in love. Their partners may feel shut out. Their children may see a provider but not a vulnerable parent. Their friends may admire them but never truly know them. Because vulnerability is the bridge between souls. And silence, however noble it may seem, keeps people on the other side. So even in marriage they can feel alone. Even in community they feel isolated. Because no one sees the hidden storm. And when others finally notice something's wrong, they often say, "But you always seem so strong." Which only deepens the loneliness, the identity trap. For the strong, their silence becomes part of who they are. It becomes their identity. I'm the reliable one. I don't break. I'm the one who keeps it all together. So when life does break them, because life always does, they don't know who to be. They feel shame. They feel lost. They feel like a disappointment, even when no one blames them. Because in their mind, falling apart means they've let everyone down. But here's the truth. Being human is not a failure. Breaking is not weakness. Needing support is not shameful. It's human. It's real. It's okay. The tipping point. Every strong person has a threshold. A moment when the silence becomes too loud. A day when they can't keep pretending. A night when the tears won't stop. Sometimes it shows up as burnout. Sometimes as a sudden emotional outburst. Sometimes as withdrawal, turning off the phone, ghosting the world. And sadly, in some cases, it turns into depression, or addiction, or complete breakdown. Because the longer we suppress pain, the more violently it demands to be heard. Healing begins with honesty. The only way to escape the trap of silence is through truth. Tiny truths at first. I'm not okay. I'm overwhelmed. I need a break. I need help. I can't do this alone anymore. And yes, it's terrifying at first. But with each truth spoken, the silence loses power. It's not about collapsing into helplessness. It's about giving yourself the same compassion you give everyone else. Because the strong deserve love too. The strong deserve rest too. The strong deserve to be held too. If you've been strong for too long, this is your permission. You can let go. You don't have to carry it all. You don't have to be everything for everyone. Your worth isn't in what you hold together. It's in who you are, even when you're falling apart. This is for you. Yes, you. The one who's always okay. The one who never makes a scene. The one who handles it, fixes it, carries it. This message is for the one others go to when they're falling apart, but who has no one to go to when you're breaking inside. You've been strong for so long. So long, in fact, that it's become second nature. You wake up tired, but you get up anyway. You carry burdens quietly, bills, responsibilities, worries, and emotions that no one sees. You show up. You smile. You listen. Even when you're hurting, you still make sure others are okay. Because you've been taught, by life, by loss, by culture, that strength means staying silent. That to be dependable, you must be unshakable. That being strong means never needing, never crying, never breaking. But that's a lie. Let's say it clearly. You don't have to earn love by holding it all together. You don't have to carry everything to be worthy. You don't have to hide your pain to be respected. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to ask for help. You are allowed to say, I'm tired. And you are not weak for saying so. To the strong who feel invisible. I know it feels like no one really sees you. Because when you're the strong one, people assume you're fine. They thank you for your support, but they rarely ask how you are doing. They lean on you but forget you might be breaking. They admire your strength but miss your suffering. But hear this. You deserve to be seen. You deserve someone who checks in on you even when you seem fine. You deserve softness too. To the strong who don't know how to let go. You've been holding up the world for so long, your hands are tired. Your back aches from emotional weight. But every time you try to set it down, something inside you panics. What if everything falls apart? What if I disappoint them? What if no one catches me? But here's a quiet truth. The world doesn't end when you rest. The people who love you won't love you less. And the real ones will stay. You don't have to unravel all at once. You can open the door slowly. You can breathe again, one sigh at a time. To the strong who confuse silence with strength. You've learned to say, I'm fine, so often that it feels like the truth. But strength isn't pretending. It isn't self-denial. It isn't suppressing everything until it explodes. Real strength is choosing honesty even when it's scary. Real strength is saying, I need support, and allowing someone to offer it. Real strength is letting go, not because you're giving up, but because you're human. To the strong who are breaking inside. I see you. I see the moments you hold it and so others don't worry. The tears you cry in the shower. The coffee you sip to stay awake because your mind won't rest. I see how hard you're trying. How much you're caring. How deeply you love, and how little you ask for in return. You are not invisible here. Not in this space. Not in this moment. You are real. And your pain is valid. A few reminders for your heart. You are allowed to receive, not just give. You are allowed to be held, not just hold others. You are allowed to speak your truth, not just listen to theirs. Let go of the shame that whispers, you should be stronger. Let go of the guilt that tells you, you don't deserve rest. Let go of the fear that says, no one will understand. Because someone will. We do. Right now, in this moment, you are understood. To the strong who forgot how to breathe, close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. Feel that? That's proof that you're still here. Still alive. Still worthy. You don't have to do it all today. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a hero. You just have to be human. And being human means having limits. Being human means asking for help. Being human means falling and letting someone help you up. So here's a whisper for your soul. You are enough. Even when you're tired. Even when you're messy. Even when you can't hold it together anymore. To the strong. You've done more than enough. You've carried enough. You've sacrificed enough. Now it's time to rest. To be poured into. To be reminded that you matter even when you're not doing. So lay it down. Not forever. Just long enough to breathe. We'll hold space for you. The world can wait. You don't always have to be strong. You just have to be real. And that, dear one, is more than enough. You've come this far. You've listened. You've reflected. You've walked through the quiet battlefield of the strong, with compassion in your eyes and perhaps a lump in your throat. Now what? What do we do with this understanding? How do we honor the silent pain so many carry? How do we move forward, changed, not just informed? Let's begin with something small, but powerful. First, look around. Really look. Think of the strong one in your life. Maybe it's your mom. The one who raised everyone but never asked for anything. The one who always says, don't worry about me, I'm fine. Maybe it's your father. The provider. The protector. The one who never shows weakness, but stays up late in a quiet room, alone with thoughts no one knows. Maybe it's your best friend. The one who checks on everyone, who listens without interrupting, who gives more than they take. Maybe it's your sibling, your partner, your coworker, yourself. Think of them. Now check on them. Don't wait for them to fall apart. Don't assume they're okay just because they're smiling. Don't let their silence fool you. Ask them gently, sincerely, "How are you really?" And when they say, "I'm fine," ask again. Pause. Look them in the eye. Create a space where truth feels welcome, not judged. You don't have to fix anything. Just listen. Just be there. Sometimes, presence is the most powerful form of love. Second, turn inward. Maybe you are the strong one. The one who never lets their guard down. The one who hasn't cried in years. The one who feels like falling apart but keeps saying, "Just one more day. I'll push through." If that's you, please hear this. It's okay to stop. It's okay to feel. It's okay to need. You are not weak for needing support. You are not selfish for saying no. You are not broken for breaking down. In fact, this might be your breakthrough. So today, take a small step. Write down how you're really feeling. Call someone and tell them you're tired. Book that therapy session you've been avoiding. Say out loud, "I'm not okay," or simply let the tears come. No explanations. No apologies. Just truth. That's how healing begins. Third, be part of the shift. We live in a culture that celebrates resilience but punishes vulnerability. Let's change that. Let's create spaces, in our homes, friendships, workplaces, where honesty isn't met with discomfort but with grace. Let's teach our children that strength is not silence. Let's tell our friends it's okay to fall apart. Let's be the ones who say, "Me too," when someone opens up. Because vulnerability isn't weakness. It's how we connect. It's how we heal. Be the reason someone finally breathes out. Be the person someone can fall apart in front of without shame. Finally, share this message. There is someone in your world who needs this. Right now. Someone scrolling in silence. Someone smiling through pain. Someone who has always been strong, for everyone but themselves. So send this video to them. Not with pressure. Not with expectation. Just a message. "Hey, I saw this and thought of you. You're not alone." You never know what that small act might do. It might save someone's day. It might save someone's life. Before we close, to every strong soul watching this, thank you. Thank you for carrying what others could not. Thank you for showing up even when it hurt. Thank you for being light in other people's darkness. But now, it's your turn. To be held. To be cared for. To rest. Let this be the moment you allow yourself to receive. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You already have. You don't have to be strong today. You just have to be honest. And in that honesty, you'll find a strength more powerful than silence. Folded hands if this message spoke to you. Yellow circle, leave a comment below. What's something you've been carrying in silence? Let's build a community where truth is safe, where the strong no longer have to carry alone. Because healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in connection. And you, dear soul, are not alone anymore. Sparkle's Golden Reflections Wisdom. Where silence is seen. Where strength is redefined. Where hearts come to heal.